Welcome back, brothers, to another video, and you've guessed it by the title. Today, we're talking Space Marines, but Valrak, you always talk about Space Marines, I know, but in today's video, it's a little bit different because 11th edition is closing in on the horizon, and I want to talk everything that I would like to see, I want to see, I'm going to predict for Space Marines mixed in with a little bit of rumours. We're talking Blood Angels, Grey Knights, Black Templars, Ultramarines, Raven Guards, Salamanders. If it's a Space Marine, it's going into this video. So strap yourself in, get ready for a long one, because we are going into premium Space Marine waffling. Now, I think the most logical jumping point into this video is to start with the 11th edition box set. I know I've waffled about this before, but there's a lot of people that come to this channel that don't keep up with all the whispers, the rumors, etc. So in the 11th edition box set, some of the things that we have heard so far, again, rumors are rumors. If you want to believe them, believe me if you want, right? All rumors are lies, as I said. Apparently, there's going to be Vanguard veterans, and there is supposed to be a new jump back chaplain, well, new Vanguard veterans and a new jump back chaplain inside that 11th edition box set. That's all we've heard so far. Hopefully we'll hear more. So that adds to the rumors that we've been hearing about a potential fast attack refresh happening for the Space Marines going forward in 11th. When I say fast attack, apparently there's going to be a new land speeder, there's going to be multi-part outriders. That opens the door then, is going to be more characters on bikes, captain on a bike, apothecary on a bike, librarian on a bike. We've already got a chaplain on a bike, etc., etc. Of course, the Vanguard veterans was a part of that rumor, but that's apparently linked to the 11th edition box set and the jump pack chaplain. Those are a lot of things that are there. But again, those are just general units that you can take in your armor. Today, I kind of just want to focus on chapters themselves and special characters and special units potentially that they could get. But yes, at the start of every edition, Space Marines always get a big box of new stuff. That's got to keep going on until, you know, GW is like 6 feet in the ground, because Space Marines are the main sellers of any new launch edition. Now, let's really kick the video off, because I want to jump in with one of my most beloved factions, one of my most beloved chapters, but in recent years, I say recent years, just lately in this edition, they've kind of just been slapped in the face. Their lore has changed a little bit, the Terminus Decree, they're stealing aspirants now from other Space Marine chapters, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Of course, it's the Grey Knights, right? It's Malcador's chosen. It's the defenders of humanity. They're sworn in to kill the demon. And lately, they have literally been at the bottom of the pile, and I love them. I absolutely love Grey Knights. Now, I will say, I have heard a rumor that the Grey Knights are going to be getting a refresh, which does make sense, because if we look back at the Space Marine stuff that has happened during this edition, 10th edition, we've had like brand new Terminators, new scales and stuff like that. So when you compare the new Grey Knight stuff to the new Terminators we've got this edition, it just doesn't match up. So I definitely do believe the rumors that they are going to increase the scale of Grey Knights. A lot of people are saying to me, is it going to be Grey Knight Primaris Marines? I'm going to say no. I think that they're literally just going to upgrade the scale. A Grey Knight, again, is it different than a normal Space Marine? I'm going to say yes and no at the same time. Maybe some mysteries are left as mysteries, but in terms of models, in terms of scale, I think they're just going to pump it up. We're going to get a new Paladins and stuff like that at a cool brand new scale. New characters coming back in a brand new scale. Hopefully characters that were left out the previous codex. Caldor Drago, if people don't know, he was literally lost his rule sheet. He was just in the background of the lore now, like this mysterious character that appears somewhere. Hopefully he'll come back in some type of form. Castellans and stuff like that, hopefully they get some brand new models, and it really pumps that range up and just makes them cool again. Because again, if you look at the Grey Knights right now and you compare the Grey Knights to the Space Marine range, it's just not looking good. I do hope we get more vehicle-based stuff for Space Marines this edition. Again, I'm going to go into it, certain chapters and stuff like that, but definitely I think the Grey Knights do need this. More Grey Knight Dreadnoughts, Rhinos, Land Raiders, etc., etc. Again, there has been some rumours that GW are going back to track-based vehicles, and there's going to be a refresh. When I say refresh, I'm not saying it's going to be completely designed, but just an updated kit, maybe a new scale, maybe, right, to fit with all the new Marine stuff, and maybe easily to assemble. Because if you put together a Land Raider, trust me, you know what it's like, the gaps and just, yeah, it's not a fun experience compared to some of the new kits. Like, I built a Fellblade the other day, and it went together like hot butter over like toast. It was fantastic. It was amazing. I want to build a bloody another one. It was that easy. So yes, a lot of new kits, hopefully on the horizon for Space Marines. But the Grey Knights, that's the first big refresh I want to see. Again, rumours leaning towards that's got to be happening in 11th edition, and I can't wait to see what they do. Just hopefully they bring back some of the big cool characters, and we're back to owning and purging chaos in the name of the Emperor in the right way. Next up is the Dark Angels. We've just had a big Dark Angel refresh. The Deathwing got a bunch of brand new models. The Terminators, the Deathwing Knights, Belial, Lionel Johnson came back. It's been pretty good eating if you are a Dark Angel fan. But of course, we all want more. More. And to be fair, the Dark Angels do need more to add to their range. Now, again, I'll start with the rumours. One of the rumours that I've heard is that Ravenwing are supposed to be getting a lot of love in 11th edition. That does make sense, adding to the rumours that we said at the start of the video about fast attack for Space Marines. If there's multi-part Outriders, then maybe there's going to be multi-part Outriders versions of the Ravenwing. Samael, of course, on his jet bike, he's definitely getting a refresh. I argue this all the time. A lot of people thought it was going to happen during the last reveal show because they were teasing something Ravenwing that turned out to be you can make your own Ravenwing librarian on a bike, which, again, I think fuels the rumors for characters on bikes and stuff, and then maybe you put some Ravenwing symbols on there, etc., etc., etc. But yes, I have heard stuff like that, that Ravenwing are supposed to get a refresh. It makes sense. Deathwing first, then Ravenwing. Are they going to get new speeders? Hopefully. I would love them to get new speeders. New flyers. One big thing I actually want to talk about is that aircraft in this game. I think Games Workshop does hate aircraft. Maybe they just don't know how to balance it, so every edition, they just make them worse and worse. Like, if you look at the size of the game at this moment in time, and again, I don't really want to start criticizing the rule system, because that's a whole video in itself, but the games are getting smaller, and aircraft are just becoming more useless on these. And aircraft, I think there's such a cool aspect of Space Marines, like the Zephon flyer and stuff. They just look amazing, bringing them in, strafing rockets attacks from the air and stuff. I love all that. Thunderhawks and stuff, like Stormbirds. I got a Stormbird down here. It's just one big brick now, right? He's doing absolutely nothing. I love aircraft in the game, and sadly it's just going the wrong way. So maybe that will change, and the Ravenwing will get some cool aircraft, speeders, Samael, like I said. There is one other character that people keep asking me about. There's a guy in the comment section that says day 104 still asking about this character. Ezekiel. Hopefully he's in the comments now and he can shut his mouth for a couple of days. Yes, I am hearing Ezekiel is supposed to be getting a new model. When that happens, I have absolutely no idea. But Ezekiel, your librarian, is supposed to be getting something very, very cool. Could it happen towards the end of this edition? I have no idea. Hopefully, that would be amazing. But definitely, 11th edition, I think Ezekiel is on the card. So for Dark Angels, I don't think they're going to add anything else, bar the Ravenwing. Is there anything else out there they can add? They've already got the Lion. They've got all the Deathwing things. They've got the Inner Circle Companions. I don't really think there's anything else they could add to their range to make it cooler than it already is. Just the Ravenwing stuff. Again, Dark Angel players, post it down below if I've missed anything. If there's something out there, help me out in the comment section. Now, jumping from the fake knight to the real knight, let's talk about the Black Templars, the true knights, the Sons of Dawn, right? We are on our eternal crusade. As you already know, I'm a huge Son of Dawn fan. I got my Black Templars in the cabinet over there. I absolutely love Sigismund's Crusading Sons, Dawn's Crusading Sons. And again, they've been eating good these past couple editions. I've always said the refresh that the Marines have got, the Primaris refresh, goes like this. Black Templars, yes, I am biased. Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Ultramarines, yes, Ultramarines, and whatever's in between, and then Blood Angels all the way at the bottom, because Blood Angels we'll get onto them later on in the video. But yeah, Black Templars, I think they've had one of the best refreshes. We got the Helbrecht, we got the Grimaldis, the Sword Brethren and stuff. If you look at their range, it is kind of complete. Yes, we've just had a new Ancient, the new Shouty Chaplain, as I call it. Where do they go now in the future? What other models potentially could they get? Well, I was really surprised at this. I thought we was actually going to get this edition, but I'm hoping next edition this is where it takes place, because again, it's all revolving around Armageddon, the Black Templars and Armageddon, so I think they are going to get a lot of love. I think they're going to be getting more Terminator love. One thing that we don't really have now for the Black Templars is Terminator-based characters, Terminator-based units. Yes, you can buy like the generic Assault Terminators, etc., etc. But what about maybe a Sword Brethren type of Terminator unit? A Marshal in Terminator armor, right? Maybe a Chaplain. Well, we do have Chaplain in Terminator armor, but you know, a Black Templar Chaplain in Terminator armor. I was going to say a Black Templar Librarian in Terminator armor there, but that would have been the utmost heresy, right? Don't say that, Valrak, in the video. Edit this out, right? Uh-oh, I'm the editor. No, I'm keeping it in. Right, so yes, Terminator-based stuff. I think this is the way to go for Black Templars. I know some people were like, maybe they wouldn't like more vehicle stuff. A cool Dreadnought? Yeah, I wouldn't mind something like that, like a Templar-based Dreadnought. But the way that GW's been going with the vehicles, this is the way I see it. They're giving vehicles to everyone these days. The days have gone of specific vehicles for specific chapters, right? That is just not happening anymore, because GW want to sell as many models to as many people as possible, especially the vehicles. That's why you don't really see like Baal Predators anymore. You just get the Gladiators and stuff like that, the Repulsor Gladiators. It's literally a Baal Predator, but it's just for everyone. So yeah, I don't think like vehicles going to one chapter is something GW want to do. I think it's more going to be based on the actual infantry units themselves. That's why I'm focusing on like Terminators, etc. And that's why I'm saying what I would hope, my dream is to get like a Sword Brethren Terminator unit, a Marshal in Terminator armor, cloak, looking absolutely amazing, just that Black Templar vibe, right? You know, seals, crosses, just big bloody power sword. That's what I want for the Black Templars going forward. But I would love to get your thoughts and feedback in the comment section from the Black Templar community. And I'm going to go a little bit off the road here because I want to talk about the Deathwatch. What? The Deathwatch? They still exist, Valrak? Yes, they still exist. Technically, we did get some new models for the Deathwatch this edition, which I think absolutely look great. But in terms of the Deathwatch as a whole, it's been a very, very bad year. They lost their codex. They've been shoehorned into Agents of the Imperium, which I massively disagree with. The reason I disagree with this is because the best bit about an army release in Warhammer 40,000 for me is the codex. It's the lore, the pictures, everything like that. It's the stories that potentially you get inside of it. And when we've been shoehorned into the Agents of the Imperium codex now, you lose all that lore, you lose all that story. So I think it's a step backwards for the Deathwatch. My hope for 11th edition is that will change. Why is that going to change, Valrak? Well, call me stupid, right? Call me an idiot. But they've just launched well, I say they just launched 10th edition. They've just launched this new narrative with 10th edition, which is all about the Tyranids. It's the biggest invasion of a Xenos force we've seen in years, right? And it's going to get worse because there's more alien invasions happening with Armageddon, Orcs. It's the Xenos madness. And the one agency which is designed to fight against the Xenos, you've literally just stood on and just scraped away the Deathwatch. So surely they have to come back out fighting. They have to come back out swinging. New watch commanders, maybe Deathwatch, new vehicles and stuff like that. I said no vehicles just previously. But do you know what I mean, right? Maybe upgrade kits for like repulsors and gladiators, which really put like the Deathwatch rule of cool back in there and stuff like that. We need Deathwatch. Deathwatch are one of the best armies on the tabletop. I will die on this hill. I love them. I think they're great. And I think the direction they've gone in is just wrong. It's completely 110% wrong by GW. I know a lot of people saying, well, they weren't really getting the sales, they weren't really that popular. They weren't really popular because you weren't really doing anything with them, right? people are not going to invest into old products. I say this all the time. Why should I invest my money into a product you're not investing in? If you make new stuff, they will come. So do it. Do more Deathwatch stuff. I guarantee it, GW, people will be sailing into the sunset with new Deathwatch stuff. Just make the bloody things, give us the book back, and let us just go back to the old days. On top of that, Astartes 2 is coming out this year as well. Again, by the time that does come out, 11th edition would have kicked off. It's probably, Astartes 2 is probably coming out at the end of this year, they said. So, yeah, if this comes out at summer, 11th edition, then there's a few couple of months into that edition. So that's all revolving around the Deathwatch, Astartes 2. So it's going to be really funny to have this big premium animation that you've been building up now for years upon years upon years by probably one of the best animators we've ever seen doing Space Marine stuff dedicated to a faction that you've literally just put into a couple of pages of Agents of the Imperium. Giving their codex back, get the hype back, get the models back. New models, cooler models, flesh out the armor. It will be amazing. Deathwatch, I have big hopes. I need you to come back swinging. GW, pull your finger out your ass and do something. Now let's get back on the road and let's talk about the Space Wolves. Again, just like the Black Templars, I'm sure a lot of people will agree that the Space Wolves got one of the best refreshes we've seen in a long, long time. And when it comes to the Space Wolves, I'm actually struggling to see think what they could potentially get now to make their range even cooler. They got amazing Terminators, they got amazing characters. Maybe some units like Longfangs and stuff like that need a little refresh. I know there's some of you out there that want new Thunderwolf cavalry, and I don't mean to be controversial. I don't mean to come across as like a nasty person, but I really think the Thunderwolf cavalry are one of the most silliest, stupidest units in the game. I know this whole lore thing, like you're going through the warp, you're ripping holes into hell and whatever you want to call it. It's all made up, it's all kind of silly in its own way. But Space Wolves, riding Space Wolves, come on now, right? This is why we can't take you seriously, right? Sons of Rust. Just stop doing it, right? Just let the wolves run free. Stop putting harnesses on them and just run into battle like every other normal Space Marine guy out there. Maybe they'll do something else with him. Maybe not. Maybe they'll get rid of him. I have absolutely no idea. But really, for Space Wolf players, is he anything you would like to see returned? There is something I'd like to see returned, but that's a Primark. But we're going to talk about Primarks at the end of the video because it's not really a prediction, because Primarks are going to keep coming back in 11th edition. We'll briefly talk about that at the end of the video, right? You can't skip it. You have to watch. Well. I've got you. You're right here, mate, right? I've got you for the Primarks. So Space Wolf players, help me out. What do you need in your armor? You've had one of the best refreshes. I don't think you need anything, right? Do you need anything? Let me know down below. What do the Space Wolves bloody need? What do you want as a Space Wolf player in your army? Refresh, redone, new. Let me know. And moving on to the next chapter, we have to get there. We have to talk about it, I'm afraid. The Blood Angels. Boy, oh boy, I think the Blood Angels probably got one of the worst refreshes I've seen in a long, long time. The Sanguinary Guard, they're wingless. They got butchered down to a 3-man group. Again, the rules, less for more. I really absolutely hate it. I think all as a whole, like they got some pretty cool characters. Lemartis, I thought was fantastic. But as a whole, I think the Blood Angels really, really got Horus's Claw this time around. Times 2, right? They've been done once of Horus's Claw. This is the second Horus Claw that has done them in again. But I do have hopes in 11th edition for the Blood Angels. And one of the big things I want to talk about is the Death Company itself. Yes, I know the Death Company did get a box set this edition, but I'm not talking about the characters. I'm talking about the actual Death Company Marines. If you go to the GW website right now and you look up Death Company, it's literally Jump Assault Intercessors in black power armor with a red cross on them. There's a little bit of an upgrade kit out there, but it's absolutely nothing compared to what you used to get for the Death Company, and I'm hoping this is the direction they go in. I'm hoping that we do get themed Blood Angel Death Company actual models. So you get all those the cool helmets, the jump packs, the chest pieces, the shoulder pads, right? It actually looks like them. They look amazing. They look fantastic on the battlefield. Not just a plain assault intercessor painted black with a cross on his shoulder. It's boring. It's crap, GW. This is the type of stuff that attracts people to the game, that makes people want to collect these armies. The rule of cool, that's what it's about. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Rules change. Rules change sometimes before they're even bloody released because GW doesn't know how to write a bloody rule, right? But these models, they last 10, 15, 20 bloody years. And this is all we want. We want cool models to put on the tabletop to say, hey, look how cool my army is to how cool your army is. That's it. That's the start, and that's the end. Do good models, and I think they really missed the mark with the Blood Angels on that one. I think they could have got a lot better stuff. Apart from the Death Company, I can't see them really going anywhere. Is anything I'm missing? Again, specific vehicles and stuff like that. I should have really mentioned this for the Space Wolves, like Beyond and stuff. I do see stuff like character vehicles getting redone, but for the Blood Angels, no, I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Like, the Brutalis is basically like their Dreadnought now, like Brow Predator tanks. I don't see them being redone at all or anything like that. Again, I think it's just like the Gladiator tanks are taking over that role with some Blood Angels icons on there. Yeah, I don't know. Sanguinius coming back? No, that's not going to happen. Maybe, who the hell knows, right? GW do love money. But Blood Angel players, again, I would love to get your thoughts, your feedback. What would you like to see? New units redone. Please don't say Sanguinary Guard. I'm saying this right now. They're not going to redo the Sanguinary Guard. Those Sanguinary Guard models are going to be staying now for at least 6, 10, 15 years. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Now, before we jump on to the rest of the Firstborn, and that when I say rest of the Firstborn, Raven Guard, Salamanders, Imperial Fist, White Scars, Iron Hands, I'm going to lump all them together because, you know, that's how GW treats us, because we're all just lumped as the same bloody chapter. I actually want to talk about Ultramarines because Ultramarines have come out swinging this edition. They've got new Victrix, Chaos Icarius. They've got a bunch of stuff, and I really do think now that GW has established these guys as one of these chapters, just like the Blood Angels, just like the Space Wolves, the Dark Angels, the Black Templars. I actually do think that in 11th edition, the Ultramarines may get their own codex. The only argument against that, which is a logical argument, which I completely agree with, is that the Space Marine Codex is the Ultramarine Codex, if that makes sense, which, again, completely understand. But of course, the Space Marine Codex does feature other chapters like the Salamanders, Imperial Fists, and stuff like that. So maybe 50-50 on that one. Again, wild speculation, wild theory that they will get that. But in terms of models, I definitely see them getting more. They've still got characters like Kronos and stuff like that. The Tyranid Veterans, I think, is definitely on the horizon. Mate, there's been rumours that apparently Gilliman is going to be getting a new model for the Ultramarines. Technically, he is the Primark of the Ultramarines, but he is the Lord Commander of the Imperium, so it's kind of different. You know, we all know he doesn't really run the Ultramarines. He does, and he doesn't at the same time, if that makes sense. But yes, I definitely think the Ultramarines are still got to keep getting love. I think they're still got to keep getting models, and GW now want to start pushing them to the front of the line more and more. Look at Titus. I'm actually going to do a video dedicated to this sometime next week. Titus is the new face of Warhammer 40,000. I will die on this hill with the popularity of Space Marine 2. How many people that brought into the IP? People identify Space Marines now through Titus. That's why GW have literally rushed him to the head of the queue, made him into the captain again, gave him a brand new model, designed this whole 500 World campaign around him. It's absolutely bloody wild. So yeah, I do think that's got to keep going on. The momentum of that is got to keep carrying on for the Ultramarines, and they will keep getting more stuff in the next edition. Anyway, let's talk about the Imperial Fist, Salamanders, Raven Guard, White Scars, etc., because this is where all the cool kids hang out, right? If you play all the other chapters, you're basically just, you know, you're just a sheep. You're chasing everyone else. If you play Imperial Fist, you really are the cool kid. So when it comes to, like, Imperial Fist, for example, we've just got Lysander right now. I actually don't think we're going to get anything more for the Imperial Fist. I know a lot of people want the Chapter Master of the Imperial Fist, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. The reason why is that we always change Chapter Masters. I'm literally shocked that this edition, we haven't killed another Chapter Master off. But yes, we did get a new Lysander, which was pretty awesome. What I think that's going to happen going forward now is that we're going to get more love to the second founding stuff. And one of those second founding chapters, of course, is the Crimson Fist. Pedro Cantor, I've heard he's getting a brand new model. I'd expect potentially maybe more characters for the Crimson Fist, decal sheets, maybe upgrade stuff. When it comes to the Crimson Fist and Imperial Fist, they basically share the same icon. All you do is paint one red and then one like black and white, right? Blue armor instead of yellow armor. So GW can literally hit two birds with one stone if they do the Crimson Fist properly. That really echoes with other chapters as well. Maybe Flesh Tearers, maybe Carcharodons, Minotaurs and stuff like that. Raptors. I can definitely see them getting characters and, of course, decals and fleshed out a little bit in 11th edition. My theory at this moment in time is, not like we've just got the big refresh of the first, the first founding chapters, like the Imperial Fist, the Raven Guard, the Salamanders, Saboden Khan on his repulsor bike. I think we're going to get that again in 11th edition, but instead of it being based on the first founding chapters, it's going to be based on the second founding chapters, the Successor chapters. So for like Imperial Fist, you get the Crimson Fist. For the Blood Angels, you get the Flesh Tearers. For the Raven Guard, Raptors, maybe it could be Carcharodons for the Raven Guard. Again, you can go in any direction with that one. Minotaurs, they're not Sons of Dawn. How dare you even say that? But you get the gist of what I'm trying to say, right? It could be like a big release like that. That's how I would like it. That's my prediction. That's my theory. That's my hope, is that these second tier chapters, I would say second tier chapters not in a bad way, I just mean like they're second founding. They have some of the greatest heroes, greatest characters in 40k, and sadly it's not just being fleshed out. It's just not there. And I think a lot of people would jump on that bandwagon then and start collecting those forces if they had access to the models themselves, maybe some cool rules and stuff like that. So hopefully that's the way to go. Again, sorry, I went a little bit off track then. Back to the first founding chapters, Salamanders, Raven Guard. I think the best way potentially that GW could do, and what I would absolutely love to see, is them doing specific, maybe just one unit for that certain chapter. So for example, as an Imperial Fist fan, Breachers. Maybe we get access to Breachers. Maybe Salamanders get access to like a Pyro class or something, which is even more devastating, but only they can take it. Maybe Raven Guard, like maybe some type of stealth unit or something like that. Maybe White Scars, maybe they get the repulsor bikes and only they can take the repulsor bikes or something. I know that would be very, very controversial. Iron Hands, maybe more cyber robotic, certain type of like hard to kill unit or something like that. You know what I mean? Just flesh them out a little bit. Give them some love. Like, we are the warriors that fought for the Imperium. Without us, there would be no 40k. And we're left on the side of the road just watching everyone else get cool stuff when we get nothing. What, 1 HQ every now and then? It has to stop, GW, right? We need the love as much as anyone else. So hopefully, those first founding chapters will start getting a few things, but what the future holds, I have absolutely no idea. I do know that Space Marines are going to get a lot of love in 11th edition because Space Marines sell. They do sell. It's the road forward. That's how GW make their money. I'm hoping we just get some of the cool stuff I personally mentioned in this video. That's what I want to see. But of course, you guys are going to be posting your stuff that you would like to see as well. Now, before we end the video, let's talk a little about primarks. Now, there is going to be primarks returning in 11th edition. I've heard whispers about this already. It's looking like mostly it is going to be traitors, which makes sense. Lorgar, Perturabo are definitely on the cards. Vashtor and all his shenanigans, working with, again, I keep saying Perturabo is literally stonewalled in with all the Iron Warrior stuff. GW are gaslighting people with the Eye of Terror stuff, which I think people are going to be quite let down with in terms of the Iron Warriorness of it. Not the actual models themselves, but the Iron Warriorness of it. I think they're literally building the foundations for Perturabo to return, which I think will be great. But of course, on the other side of that coin, it's a Loyalist Primarchs. The Lion is about to meet Guilliman, which I think is going to set off a whole brand new narrative, hopefully for the game, and that opens a door then for another Loyalist Primarch to return, because what you don't want is these Loyalist Primarchs returning and not meeting each other. That's why it's so vital that Guilliman meets the Lion, so that story then has had a start. Sorry, has had an end and then a start to a new chapter. Then you can bring someone else back. Now, when you look where the narrative is going at the moment, Armageddon, we know a certain Primarch that disappeared in Armageddon, fighting a certain beast, of course, Vulcan. We know Vulcan can't die, he's perpetual. Wouldn't it be really, really cool is that Vulcan is, I won't say trapped, but maybe he's just been hiding in secret, maybe, and just watching from the shadows for these past 10,000 years. Maybe he's just been helping people in the wastes as like this nomad secret angel of a figure, you know, just out there, just purging when he can purge and stuff like that. Maybe this is the time for him to return. But there's so much shenanigans. Again, I keep hearing big stuff about the Dark Eldar and the Webway. We know who went in the Webway and disappeared. Jagatai Khan, that's another one that potentially come back. Korax, mate, we know he's alive. He's in the warp. Time moves differently in the warp. Korax could be in there for 50 years. It's been 10,000 years on the outside, right? There's so many big foundations that have been built, the starts have been built to be built on, so it's been laid down to be built on, to bring these Primarks back. I definitely think there's going to be more Loyalist Primarks coming back, but I really want to explore the theories and the talk about that in a separate video because I want to go wild. Bring me my foil, right? Let me embrace the foil. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. I have no idea how long I've been waffling for. I think this is like a 20, 30 minute video or something. I've worked an entire week in one day. If you enjoyed the video, that means you have to now, send a super chat in the comment section and say, Valrak, you've worked a week. Take 2 weeks off vacation time. This one's on me, right? I'm only kidding. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching as always. Again, this is just my thoughts, feedback, speculation, theories, everything like that. My dog is looking at me. He wants to go for a walk. Come over there. Come on, Archimus, get over here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Again, leave all your theories and speculation down below. And we'll have a nice little chinwag down there as we always do. See you now and bye-bye.